Why are we so good at slowing life down when we're little kids? Remembering the stories of our childhood summer, the days of riding our bikes and swimming and playing sports, we lost track of the day of the week, and summer felt as if it was going to stay forever because, time felt slow. So, where did we lose our ability to slow time down? Something happened here. As we started growing up, we started to find ourselves speeding up, and weeks started to feel like days, and years started to feel more like a few weeks rather than 12 months. And now we're getting trapped into this cycle of our life continuously speeding up. And to understand this, we need to understand what's actually happening in our mind. David Eagleman, a neuroscientist dedicating his life to how our brain constructs time, says unlike our senses like touch, taste, smell, and hearing, our sense of time is more about perception than sensation. What happens is our brain starts to take in a whole lot of information, and our brain has the task of organizing it in a way so we can understand what's happening. So when you give your brain the same sensory information every day, the brain knows how to process it, which makes you perceive time faster. But when you give your brain new information, let's say snowboarding for the first time or getting into a life-threatening situation, and since our brain hasn't been exposed to this type of sensory information before, our mind takes longer to process. And this makes time feel longer or, in our case, slower. So how can we train our brains, more importantly, retrain our minds to slow down again? And the first thing is learn something new. This past month, I've been getting my 200-hour yoga certification. And we had this 10-day intensive where we were putting our mind and body through whole new type of sensory information that was completely different from me. And I felt like a young kid again. I felt like every single day I was learning something new and I was exposing myself to something I haven't been accustomed to. And time felt like it was going so slow. The second thing is travel to new places. Our first thought when we say travel is packing up our bags and going to a different country. But we can simplify that down to something much smaller. Let's say taking a different route to work every day is perfect enough for our brains to be stimulated. Or even when you're working out, try something different. Try a different routine. As a personal trainer, I see this quite often where people get stuck doing the same workouts every single week. So maybe if you're a runner, go down a trail or do something different than your routine morning run. If you love swimming in a pool, try swimming in a beach or a lake. The idea here is to expose yourself to new sensory information so our brain takes longer to perceive it. The third thing here is stop being a planner. Our minds love doing what it's familiar with. By planning, we're going to be doing things that we're accustomed to or what we're comfortable with. So when we're spontaneous, it keeps our brain awake and stimulated, which in turn makes time seem like it's going slower. The fourth thing here is have different conversations, not just with people, but with just different topics. As humans, we love connecting with people, but it can become a curse when you start to hang out with the same group of people every single day and having the same conversations. For example, I love talking about mindfulness, fitness, and meditation. But when I put myself in a room of people, let's say, who love engineering, which is a totally different subject, you start to shift your mindset from being fixed to growth mindset. And more importantly, you start to ask new questions and learning new things along the way that you weren't familiar with before. So how does mindfulness come into play here? Mindfulness takes a big role when it comes to slowing time down. Everything that I've mentioned in the past 2 or 3 minutes has been about focusing and becoming aware of your surroundings. And more importantly, not checking out. You have different conversations. You can learn new skills. You can travel to new places. But if your mind doesn't know how to register small details that allow us to slow time down, your effort's going to be all a waste. And that's why a daily meditation practice can help train your mind to start focusing on smaller things. So taking 10 minutes every morning to focus maybe on your breath or listening to a soundtrack of rain or thunder is all you need to shift your mindset to focusing on the smaller things. In the art of being mindful, understand that we have the mental strength and the ability to slow time down again. So the next time, catch yourself when you say, wow, time is flying, or where has the time gone? Because this is the perfect indication that you haven't been focused or stimulating your mind in new and different ways.